If you ever thought about getting a successful mentor or coach, and you actually want me, Spectacular Smith, to actually coach you and become your mentor, I'm actually so excited about releasing my online school, Spectacular Academy, where I'm actually going to teach you live once a month different skill sets that's actually going to help you change your life for the better. Transformational information that I'm going to give you guys access to. I have a formula to success that every single company that I ever touched turned into gold. And I have over 14 companies, okay? And all of them have the same type of success. So I want to teach you everything that the school system should have taught you. You know, everything that I know and how I built these fast-growing companies and these award-winning companies, and show you real curriculums that I'm going to break down, and you're going to have access to me. I'm going to be live in the chat rooms. I'm going to be live in the Facebook groups and personal communities that I'm going to give you guys access to of like-minded entrepreneurs. So you're not by yourself on this mission. Not only you have me as a coach and a mentor, but you actually have your peer-to-peer people that's going to push you and root for you on the way to the top. Guys that's on the same exact wavelength that you are on and want the same exact results. Because my game plan is to change the way the school systems teach and teach you the things that need to make an impact in your life. Things that's going to be a high-ticket skill that you can use forever, where you don't never have to worry about going broke or not eating at night, because once you learn how to market and brand yourself, then you can eat for a lifetime. You get access to my team and everything. If you want to go to my free training just to get a sample of the things that's going to be in my program, you can actually go to specmentorme.com, or I'm going to put it in the bio. Only take a certain amount of people every single month. So reserve your seat and do not procrastinate, because you might just miss out. Now let's get to the podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Spectacular Smith, and welcome to the Spectacular Experience.
Today we are sitting down with Spectacular Smith to talk about the 3 skills that every entrepreneur needs. Now, Spectacular's got a really interesting story, okay? This dude started a business when he was 11 years old that was bringing in more income for him than the average American today, which is absolutely crazy. He was in a boy band that went platinum, which is also crazy. And he's done a lot of really massive things at this point. He's got an 8-figure business that he runs as well. So he's absolutely crushing the game. He's got an entire tribe of people behind him that support him. He's got a crazy dedicated tribe in everything that he does. So I'm super stoked to have the opportunity to sit down with him today and allow him to share how he was able to scale to that 8-figure mark and what he's doing today to allow him to continue to thrive. And then also the 3 skills that are essential for you to master if you do want to see success as an entrepreneur. This is the episode for you. So I'm super stoked to get into it. I don't want to waste any more of your time. So without further ado, we're going to welcome Spectacular Smith to Young Smart Money. All right, Spectacular. Welcome to Young Smart Money. How are you doing today?
And I'm doing just fine, man. Just it's always busy days for me, man. Just working.
Absolutely, man. So our listeners got to hear a bit about you in the intro, but for those of them that aren't as familiar with who you are and what you're doing right now, give us a quick snapshot of where you are right now.
Yeah, so pretty much I'm focusing on my program, which is my academy. I'm a strong believer in, if I feel a certain way about something, I want to do something about it. I'm not like a talker where people talk about a lot of things that they don't like the way things are going, and they do nothing about it but talk. And if they decide they want to do something, they procrastinate on it. So I'm not one of those individuals. So I decided to launch my academy, Spectacular Academy, and pretty much change the way schools are teaching, because I feel like the way schools are teaching right now and the things that they're talking about is not necessarily good for the entrepreneurs
who want to launch businesses or even teach things that you need to know in real life, like leadership, like credit, how to sell through personalities and dealing with people and managing a spread, a balance sheet and profit. What's a profit and loss? Like, they don't really understand that or teach these things about credit and things that can really benefit your life and impact your life as an entrepreneur. And I feel that school systems are angled around workers.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't know they originally started schools to have somewhere for the people who was workers, kids to go somewhere while they was at work. So it was always for this type of situation, right? Your parents go to work and you go to school while they're at work, and it teaches you how to get ready to be a worker. So now they can work in the factories also. But nothing ever changed. Everything is always evolving in the world, but the only thing haven't evolved like that is the school systems. It's still the same old school systems from back when it first started. So I feel like it's a time for it to evolve, and not only evolve, but involve for things and in a way that it can impact the world and the entrepreneurs who want to provide more jobs for the people who are going to the traditional schools, for them to create more opportunities for people who need work.
100%. Spectacular. Speaking my language, man. I'm stoked to dive into this. So I like to start off all the interviews by sort of flashing back in time, because most of the listeners here are on the younger side. So I want to hear about your upbringing. I know you got an interesting story in the music industry as well, but like talk to us about like middle school and high school years. First of all, like what were you doing at that age? What were you up to?
Man, high school, middle school. Middle school, I was actually a guy who went to school. I was always a jokester. I love to have fun, man. No matter what position I am in life, like I want to have fun
Mm.
and enjoy myself. So I used to always be the guy they called the class clown, and trouble almost every day. But it was at one point that I just seen some of the kids always was talking about they was hungry, they was starving in class. It's like, man, he was trying to always get out of class just to go buy some candy or something like that. So I seen a huge opportunity at that time to sell some candy and get the kids some food and stuff during class, even though I know I wasn't supposed to be selling it, but everybody kept talking about how hungry they was. So I was like, all right, cool. I bought like $45 worth of candy to school and sold out by second period in Miami, Florida, called Cara City. And pretty much we got 7 periods. So imagine being sold out by the second period. I got 5 more periods to go, and everybody's like, Spec, you don't have no more candy? You don't have no more candy? I was like, yeah, dog, I don't have no more candy. I don't. So they used to just give it to me, man. Oh, man, I thought you said you had candy. So I decided to get some people to work with me, man. I went around the school and I recruited 10 people to work for me. And I'm 11 years old at the time, but I just didn't want to get aggravated by people keep asking me if they, did I have candy. So I wanted to get some workers. And I told them, listen, I'll pay you $20. You sell this candy, for a week. And at the end of the week, if you sell a lot more than 3 times in that week, I give you additional $5. So to a kid that's 11 years old in the 6th grade, $25 a week, like that's some good money. Yeah, so I had a nice little payroll. I had a nice little bonus incentive plan, and I was killing it, man. I was making $1,500 to $2,000 a week at 11, and by the time I got 14, I bought my first car. I transitioned my business to the high school. I had my workers grow with me, and then my father came to get me, and I started living with my father. Because he was in jail. My dad went to prison when I was a kid, and he got out around the time I was in high school. So when he got out of prison, he came and got me and made me live with him. Even though I didn't want to live with him, my mom was fun. She had no rules. My dad, he was super strict. So I took my business to high school, and I was in the hood with my mom, and my dad made a way for himself when he got out of prison and went to the suburbs. So now I understood that, hey, people behind guarded gates, they'll pay a little bit more money for candy. So my prices doubled. So my ROI just went all the way up. So it was beautiful, man. And I started making money from that. And candy sales, that was the first time I ever got put out of business. The schools were saying how much money I was killing it. Every day you used to come, hey, Mr. Smith, we got one of your workers. And I used to go into detention. I used to open the door. It's like, yo, what happened? He was like, man, they got me, man. They got me. So they take all my candy, take all my product, man. It was horrible when it came to that. But yeah, it was good. That's when I learned it was hard to come by good employees. Because I had my family working for me first. That didn't work out. My brother was on my inventory. It was all bad. And then a lot of guys, they would eat the candy sometime. My money would be short, like everything. So I learned a lot of stuff at a young age on how to deal with people and employees and how to maneuver through those challenges. So yeah, it's pretty good. And the schools realized how much money I was making, and I got put out of business because then they put vending machines in. Take me out. And then I was like, oh man, I felt like it was a battle. I was like, let me go cut the cords. So I cut the cords. Like, hi, it's war. They're trying to put me out of business. And then I started putting paper in the quarter slots, man. Then they put a camera by every vending machine, and I was officially out of business.
Wow. That's a wild story, man. I mean, you say $1,500 to $2,000 a week. That's more than the average American makes at a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. And it was great because my 48, so I made $48 off of a sneaker box that came with 48 packs. And within the 48 packs, I only paid $7 for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some nice margins right there. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It was pretty good, man. I had a lot of money at a young age. I had cell phones. I had, before kids even, my mom didn't even have a cell phone. I had 2 cell phones. I had beepers, 2-way pagers. I had my own clothes, car, all that.
That's ridiculous, man. That's absolutely ridiculous.
That was awesome.
So talk to us about how that transitioned into the music industry. Like, how did you go from that to making an appearance there?
Yeah, so I was always an entertainer from third grade. I was always in a dance group, and my passion was always in dancing and entertaining. Just seeing the females just go crazy and that look. So I was always in a dance group, and then when I got into middle school, I started dancing with my brothers on stage because my father was like, hey, get on stage and dance with your brother. And one of our producers at the time who was doing a lot of production for our music, his name was Jim Johnson. He did some of the biggest hits of all time right now for some of the biggest artists. So, but back then at the time, he was like, you should give Spec a verse. And they gave me one verse. Oh my God. And the ladies went crazy. I was like, they started screaming. And after that, as soon as the show ended, it was all right, we're going to put Spec on the whole album. So I went from one verse to like a whole album full of verses. So yeah, it was pretty good. So once we did that, I became like one of the lead guys in the group. And by the time we got to high school, as soon as I graduated, the single of the group just took off and went viral. It was called Grind on Me. And we changed our name to Pretty Ricky because our name was Pretty Ricky and the Mavericks, but it was a country group named the Mavericks. So we couldn't use it because it was a conflict. So we just kept the name Pretty Ricky. And as a group. And when we came out in 2005 is when the song took off. In January, the song took off. In February, we did the album. March, we put out the album. By the time several months went by, we went platinum. The single went platinum. The second single went platinum, Your Body. And the funny thing is, throughout this process, I was always an entrepreneur. Like I was always in the music and entrepreneurship. I had my workers selling candy, but I was performing at nighttime, sometimes 3 shows a day. Like crazy, night and day 3 shows. So like I was even now, I'm still doing music. I just got off the second highest grossing tour of the year. And now I got one of the fastest growing companies in America, right? And one of the best probably held companies in America by Entrepreneur 360, Entrepreneur Magazine, and ranked on that list. So it's like killing it on both sides, I feel, is always great for me to see both reactions. And now I'm on one of the biggest, reality shows called Love and Hip Hop for Hollywood season and Miami season. We hit #1 for the franchise.
Man, so I mean, I gotta ask, like, how do you balance all this stuff? Like, how are you excelling in all these different areas at the same time?
I just feel like it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint, it's a proven blueprint for success. And I feel like it works in every aspect of life. Like you'll see somebody like Elon Musk become successful as hell in everything he launches, SpaceX, Tesla, PayPal. Like, I feel like he has a formula. And I'm not Elon Musk yet, keyword yet.
Yep.
But I feel like it's just a formula that works for you as a person, and a lot of times you can duplicate that formula for other people, and that's why I created even my program. I was our academy, which I transitioned the name to Spectacular Academy, and just so you really just see what I'm doing for myself, and you can implement it for your own self. So my formula of success, I packaged it all up so people can take advantage of it at the same time, and do the things that I'm doing if you're willing to put the work in. Because I mean, sometimes I might sleep 2 hours in a day. I might sleep 4 hours. Like it's real work getting put behind the formula, but at least I can still give you what works for me to be successful in all these areas. And it's always improvement. It's always ways to grow even above and beyond of where I'm at right now, and that's why I started podcasts too, to get the word out. So my podcast is called The Spectacular Experience. We hit #1 on the charts in music, and in the category of music out of, millions of podcasts, so it's all about the formula, hard work, dedication, accountability, and making sure that you don't procrastinate on the things that need to be done, prioritizing. So I'm a strong believer. If I feel like I don't want to do it and I know I'm supposed to do it, I do it. If I tell myself like, man, I don't want to do this, that's my trigger. Like my inside voice say, hi, you shouldn't have said it. Get up and go do it. And I get up and go do it. It's like, man, I don't feel like going to the gym. I think, why did I say that? I got to get up. I got to get to the gym now. So I kind of live by certain mantras, and it works for me, man.
How do you develop that, first of all, like self-discipline to be like, as soon as you say you're not going to do it, then you get up and go do it? Because a lot of people will like sit there and they'll be like, I don't want to go to the gym, and then they'll keep sitting there on the couch and they won't go to the gym. So like, how do you start putting that together?
It's crazy. I always get asked this question, and it seems so simple to me, but I
Yeah.
guess that's what makes someone great at what they do, when it comes easy for you, but harder for the next man. And I have an agreement with myself, right? It's like showing up to a meeting. You want to show up to a meeting late, but if you had a meeting with yourself, would you show up to a meeting late, or would you respect your time, right? As a person and as an individual. So I treat myself like a business, like a partnership, right? Excuse me. I treat myself like a partnership. So if I was to, my highest paying client is myself. So if you had your highest paying client and you told your client you was going to go to the gym with them and you was going to land $1 million deal, are you going to end up at that gym even though you don't want to go to that gym? Hell yeah. You're going to be like, what time we got to be at? 8 o'clock? All right, I'll be there at 7:50. I'll be at 10 minutes early because I'm not messing up this $1 million deal. I know for sure I'm going to cash out on this client. All I need to do is get to the gym. So I treat myself like that, man. And I have accountability for myself. I feel like I deserve the best, and I deserve to look the best or become the best. And the only way for me to do that and become the best is for me as a person, as an individual, to have some type of accountability for myself and for my actions and the things that I know I need to do. I know I need to consistently learn. I know I need to go and work out, and I know health is wealth. I know that relationships are everything, not to put my relationships on the line for short-term gains. So it's like a lot of things that I live by, my core values as a person, and I stick to it, stay true to it.
Mm. I really like that idea of thinking about yourself as like your highest paying client, because like, I mean, you are the one that's going to determine where you're going to get to, and you need to treat that relationship as an important relationship, and as a like the most important relationship. Because like if that gets messed up, like if you don't have accountability, if you don't have trust with yourself, then that just screws with everything, man. Because if you can't even trust yourself, then like you're just screwed up, you know?
Exactly. It's like, it's a quote. I forgot who said it. Or I don't even know if I'm even going to butcher the quote, but it's basically like, if you can't, how are you going to make somebody else happy if you can't even make yourself happy?
Yeah.
It all starts with yourself.
100%. So you talked about this formula that you've developed for yourself. I mean, can you talk to us about that process of like getting to understand how, like, this formula that you can now apply to so many different areas? Like, how'd you get there? Like, what's the process look like for that?
The process is pretty much, just to recap on what I said previously, is like accountability, right, within yourself, and accountability partners, which is amazing for me because not only I have a contract with myself, but I have a verbal contract with my accountability partner, somebody who wants to be, not even wants to be, somebody who's on the same mission as you. Right? They want to become better, no matter if they have more money than you, no matter if they have less money than you, no matter if they're more successful than you. It doesn't really matter. They're on the same mission as you as an individual, and they want to grow. They want to leave themselves accountable for the things that they know is going to make an impact in their life. And you put this on a list of things that you want to accomplish for the week, and you check in once a week. It might be checking in every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time zone, and we get on a call. If we too busy, because we're too busy entrepreneurs, we can send a text and just check in right quick, but it's usually a call. Check in, accountability. Another thing is figuring out what is the most important thing to accomplish for the next day coming up. So at nighttime, I come up with a list of things that I want to accomplish the next day, which is called a power list from Andy Frisella. And I figure out my power list, like what do I want to accomplish the next day? And when I understand what I need to do for the next day, I can better prepare myself to get that done. So now I'm prioritizing, because what a lot of people do is they go into the day not even knowing what the hell they need to do. And a whole day go by, you're like, yo, what the hell did I do all day? Right? Versus someone who is being more intentional on the things that they're going to do for the day, they can accomplish more because now it's top of mind, because you know for sure this small list that you got of 5 things, you have to accomplish those things for that day. And then you feel like you accomplished something. So that gives you more drive and more, what's the word I'm looking for?
That clarity,
Yeah, more clarity, but I'm looking for a certain word. Whatever, I can't remember. I can't think of the word right now. But it just makes you more proud of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
damn, I just accomplished that, and it gives you that morale that you need. And once you have that, then you're able to gain momentum. When you have momentum, you can break through anything with momentum. But if you don't have no momentum, like no matter the smallest thing can stop you, right? I think Mario Arizart talks about this, and he's one of my friends, and he's super powerful when it comes to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And what he talks about is a actual train. If a train go and it's going full speed, it can break through anything. You can put an 18-wheeler, it'll smash right through it because it has momentum. That momentum is going, it's going, it's going. Now, if you can you can put it something as small as a little log, and with that train not having no momentum, just going at the minimum pace, that little log can stop that big old train. So no matter what you do, no matter how big you are, how great you are, the train is huge. A train is amazing. Like, it carries all these loads and is like travels hundreds of miles per hour. And if a little old log, you put it on here with no momentum, it stops it completely in its tracks. But when it's going full speed and you have all this greatness and all these different components added to it, boom, it can bust through anything. So my point is saying that is, with momentum, you can accomplish anything. So once you get that momentum and knowing what you got to do the next day, all of a sudden you're accomplishing all these things back to back to back to back. And now you're looking at the end of the month or the end of the year, you're like, holy smokes. I just did 5 things times 365 days. So that's 365 times 5 on the task that you accomplished that was important. Keyword is important and priority. And now you're able to see the needle move in your life.
Man, I mean, you could preach on that all day. I got my book over here. That's got my power list every day. I got 3 things a day that I do. every single day. And that's been so critical to make that shift and really like prioritize, like you said, what's important and what's actually going to give you momentum each day. Now, I want you to speak to the person who feels like they're stalled out right now. Like they feel like they're not making progress. They feel like they don't know what direction they're headed in. How can you start to get momentum from this place of really uncertainty of like, you don't even know what direction you want to be going in? So like, how do you start building momentum from basically the ground?
So how you can build momentum is figuring out, first of all, what you want to do, what makes you happy. A lot of people go into things for money. And when you do that, you already kind of lost, because when things go wrong, you're not in it for the love. So when the money is not there, you have no motivation to keep going because money is not a factor. And I know the most successful people in the world say, don't focus on money, don't focus on money. If you focus on the product, then you're able to see the growth that you want. Is going to make money because the product is amazing, the service is amazing, or the brand is amazing, because you 100% focused on that and not necessarily the money. And when you put focus on that, then you're able to not be stuck because you're doing what you love to do. So in entrepreneurship, it's going to be times where you're going to feel like, man, just giving up. But the love and passion you have for it won't let you. But if it's all about the money, when things hit the fan, you have no reason to keep going because the money's not there. You on to the next. And now you find yourself chasing every shiny object. And at that point, you're just a person who's just one day you want to rap. Next day you want to be have a lawn service. Next day you want to sell t-shirts. And the next day, like, because you have no passion behind what you're doing. So you're just going to be running in circles. It's like a hamster wheel. Like you're running, you're moving, but you're not moving in nowhere, no direction at all. So I feel that have to figure out what exactly you want to do. Do not make money an object. It shouldn't be an object. Figure out what you want to conquer. And find someone who has done what you already want to do. And if that's a mentor, if that's Googling them and researching them and figure out how they became successful in life, that's it. Figuring out that and invest in yourself. Constantly learn 24/7. Learn as much as you can learn. Keep an open mind. Never feel like you know it all. And surround yourself around people who's on the same mission as you. And you will find that formula alone of reading. At least take 15 minutes a day and read something. It has to be something. It might be a podcast, or I try to do both. I try to do at least a minimum of 15 minutes of podcast, a minimum of 15 minutes of reading, or at least listen to one episode on a podcast and read 15 minutes of whatever book I feel like I'm in the mood for. And I have a list of books, and depending on what I'm feeling, I might feel like I'm in a marketing mood. I might feel like I'm in a leadership mood, self-development mood. Whatever mood I'm in, that's what type of book I indulge in at that time. And you'll be surprised. You start with 15 minutes and all of a sudden you done got through an hour, 2 hours worth of reading because you just got in that flow. So it's all about starting. I think another thing is people try to wait till they got all the best ammunition, all the best tools to go out and execute on something. In reality, it'll never be perfect. You'll never have every last tool you need to start something. So once you come in and you actually focus on that, focus on the product, just focus on what you have at the time. And as you get better, you actually start getting some of the tools that you was looking to start with. And you're like, okay, cool. You know, I want to start a car service and I start off with a regular old Lincoln car, the money that I generated from that Lincoln car, now I can go get an Escalade. Then the money I generated from that Escalade, now I can go get a limo. And then like you start building, not say, hey, I want to start once I get an Escalade, a limo, and a Lincoln Town car. Then you'll never get nowhere because you're steady waiting for that perfect moment. And just to even continue even on that end of talking about how like just to rewind a little bit on how as an entrepreneur, you have to have love for it. Jeff Bezos, he didn't make money in Amazon and like almost like the first 5 years of starting Amazon, if not longer. People was laughing at him saying, hey, you can't make money off of this. His interviews, oh my God, his interviews online that people were telling him he was crazy and it wasn't gonna, Amazon wasn't gonna work. I know that interview just feels like crap right now.
Yeah.
He was gonna go bankrupt 2-3 times, like his company was about to get closed down because he didn't have enough money. And he had to rush, right at a point where he was going to go bankrupt, something happened and boom, he got capital and he was able to keep going. So just imagine, that's the number one company in the world right now. He's the richest man in the world. If he can go bankrupt or potentially go bankrupt, if people didn't believe in his project and told him it wasn't going to work, if he can go the first 5 to 10 years without making any money, what would you sacrifice? Who's telling you that your product is not going to work? Who's telling you that, who's telling you that the things that you believe in is not possible? Or who's telling you like, listen, you might as well quit because it ain't making no money, or you're losing everything for this. But if you truly believe in something and your heart and passion is into it, you could become the next Jeff Bezos because he went through all that.
100%. I mean, you got to look at who's the person telling you that too, and figure out like, are they even want to speak on that subject? Because a lot of people's families, they won't be supportive to them. They'll tell them that's never going to work. You're never going to make money with that. You can't succeed with that online stuff. And I mean, that's just how they were brought up. Like they don't understand the system. They don't understand how it works. So like, that's why they think that. But in reality, like they're not the ones that are the experts in the field that you should be taking your information from.
Yeah, they're not equipped with the knowledge to give you the right feedback. One of the books that's amazing that I think every entrepreneur should read is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yes.
And it talks about that. It talks about getting advice from people who are not an expert in the thing that you want to get involved in. So he was like, hey, if you want to invest, why would you go get expert advice from a shoemaker when you're investing on real estate? And the guy in The Richest Man in Babylon went to go invest with the shoemaker, and then he came back to The Richest Man in Babylon and asked how did things go. He lost all his money. So the book teaches about, and this is just one thing. It's like many lessons in the book, but that one lesson was do not take advice or expert, quote unquote, expert advice from people who have not done what you want to do. You want to be an expert, you want to invest in real estate, go to someone who's conquered the real estate market to get advice from them. And not only get advice from them, but once you get advice from them, go to somebody else who conquered the real estate niche and then reconcile his advice to make sure what he just told you was a fact. So checks and balances. And make sure you're taking advice from people who already are successful or are someone who's accomplishing the thing that you're trying to accomplish, and not take advice from people that are not an expert in the field that you're trying to get into. Not saying that they won't have anything valuable to say at times, because everybody can teach you about generic stuff. But if they're going to teach you about real estate, but they never did anything with real estate ever before, it's like, why am I listening to you? Now, if it's just generic advice on, accountability and like, who to talk to, or like, that's different.
100%. So one thing that I'm curious about your thoughts on is like, I mean, man, you've been featured in a lot of big publications, from like Entrepreneur to like a bunch of other ones. And I'm just curious, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are like trying to get themselves featured in all these magazines and such. I mean, do you think that that's like a worthwhile pursuit for a young entrepreneur just getting started? Do you think that's where they should be focusing their attention? Do you think that's been beneficial for you? Or do you think there are other things that they should be focusing on?
Yeah, I don't think, like, if you're doing amazing work, they're going to reach out to you. And once you do amazing work and you feel like you're at a point where you need some type of recognition for it, closed mouths don't get fed. So once you feel like you're at that point and you have something worth writing about or worth publicizing, then you can reach out to someone who has written articles that's similar to you. Because if you reach out to someone who writes about, let's say, shoemaking, I'm gonna just go back to that. They would not write about your real estate business. They write about shoemaking businesses. So you want to go and find an actual writer whose focus is on your niche and create a relationship with them. Don't even ask for nothing. Just don't ask for nothing until it's that time to ask for something, right? So make sure, my rule of thumb is, and I talk about this in my podcast or my mentees, the rule is the 10 rule for me. Give 10 things before you ask for one thing. So make sure you can help this person out. You can reach out to them, DM them, or email them and say, hey, go read some of their work and say, hey, when you said this on this article, man, this was dope. I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to more content. Boom, they write something else. You wait a couple months later, it's like, oh, man, I just seen another piece you just wrote. Yo, when you said this, I applied this, and bro, you were spot on the money. And then they start getting used to your face. Then they start, well, what are you doing? What are you up to? It's, oh, yeah, I've got this going on, blah, blah, blah. Might stop right there. Then, boom, you get another article or whatever. Now you follow them. You repost some of their stuff, share some of their content, tag them in it. Like, it's a whole process like building any relationship. And then when you finally do ask them for something, after you did 10 things or gave them value in 10 ways, then you say, hey, what do you think about an article, man? I haven't been featured in any publications before, and I think that you would probably be the best person to point me in the right direction to get in the article. And they might say, hey, you know what? I'll just do the article. Like, I like what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Or they might give you a contact of someone who can write an article for you. So it's just all about like that.
I love that so much, especially that 10 rule of like giving 10 things, because so many people rush into relationships online in ways they would never rush into relationships in person. I mean, like, they're going in for the kill right away, when in reality, like, you would never just walk up to someone on the street and be like, hey, will you give me this? It's like, that's just like, nobody does that. But online, it's like you DM someone and you're like, hey, can you give me this for free? Or like, hey, can you do this work for me? Or hey, can you do this? And it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, you have to provide some value. You have to build that relationship before they're going to want to do anything with you. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm also curious, man, before we wrap this up, I want to hear more about the team building process, because you've been building teams, man, like you said, since the age of about 11 years old. So what have you learned throughout building that team, and then all the teams you've built since, that you think would be beneficial for our listeners who are just getting started in expanding their own businesses?
Yeah, man, I think the best thing to do with building teams is first finding people who believe in you. It might start off with family and friends and people who actually believe in your vision, your project, or get other people who are on the same mission when it comes to building the same type of things that you're building. Maybe it might be a partner, right? Somebody who already are doing the things that you want to do, and maybe you guys go in a partnership together and start something new on the side. Or maybe it's joining a program and getting in one of these Facebook groups that you get access to, and find somebody who in that Facebook group who's trying to do the same thing similar, and you guys partner together. Or maybe it's hiring somebody from that Facebook group who already are above the average level when it comes to the material that's in that program. And just building your community like that, I think, is good. Mastermind groups, and just getting different feedback from other individuals on how they started their groups, how do they start their supporters and followers that actually currently work for them, like their first 5 hires, figuring that out. This is all great stuff, because before, when I first started, we didn't have like courses and programs and learning from people who already accomplished all these things. All we had was books. Now people have free podcasts. You have programs that guys who are making $100 million a year, or millions a year, are giving you their formula. So even if you get that program and you learn 2 to 3 nuggets that you could apply into your business, it's worth the investment. Then you get into these Facebook groups where you got other people who is interested in the same exact thing that you're interested in. And boom, you got more friends that's on the same mission as you. Boom. Now you become friends with them. You take them offline. You go have lunch, dinner, fly in, go see them, or when they come to your city, and you guys connect and keep in touch online. Like, I didn't have none of this stuff. Podcasts, like, man, that alone is so valuable because it's free, right? You're not charging them to listen to this. They just click subscribe and they download the episode and they listen to everything I'm saying that took me millions of dollars to learn. They're learning that at a drop of a dime. So I just feel like getting into these Facebook groups, purchasing programs, finding family or friends that believe in your vision, and, figure out ways that you can get them involved, or partner with somebody from either these Facebook groups or masterminds, or somebody who already accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, and see if they want to do an outside business, or even join forces with them and start with their business. And or reach out if you're already financially stable and already have a business and you want to get some top talent. You can actually reach out. LinkedIn is great for that. Reach out and say the same thing like you would do with the article blogger, and say, hey, anyone who's looking for a paid media position? And of course they do pay media. They do pay media, but you're reaching out and you just asking a question. It's like, hey, I'm this is my company. My company name is A, B, and C. We do blah, blah, blah. And I seen what you did over here at this company. I'm so amazed. That, of course, do your homework, give some value. It's like, I implemented this and it was dope. And, I feel like you'll be the perfect person to ask, do you know anybody who's in the same space as you, who's looking for a job in paid media? That person might say, well, you know what? I'm looking for a job. I'm looking to transition from my company I'm at right now, and I'm looking for a better opportunity. And then you just pay them more. Or you give them, figure out how to give them, equity in the company and make it vest, right? Where they don't get it right on the spot, but they have to work for the equity that they're getting and create partnerships. And it's a lot of ways, man, to build. But if you're just really starting out, I would recommend a book 4-Hour Work Week and get some VAs. Virtual assistants are amazing. You can get them from the Philippines if you're doing customer support, or like you need a personal assistant. It's a lot of companies that have a bunch of VAs under their belt, so you can just focus on one company that has various type of VAs. It might be website designs, development. It might be personal assistant. It might be, pay media, whatever it is. And you can start finding VAs on a website called Upwork and a website called Fiverr. And you can actually go and find some VAs on there and really accomplish what you need to accomplish.
I'm huge advocate of VAs. VAs are like the back end of my entire business, man. I've got coming up on 5, I think right now that do various different things, whether that's social media. Editing this podcast, distributing this podcast, like it's all off my plate. It saves me so much time and it lets me focus big picture. I'm a huge advocate of like taking those to expand your business because it's very cost effective as well, man. Like you said, hiring overseas, the cost of living is just so different that it just economically makes so much sense.
Yeah. Like my VA, he's from India and he just bought a house off of what we pay him. Right. Yep. And I pay him $6 an hour and he bought a house. Right. It's just like the money they're balling over there was $6 US. It's just like, of course I have VAs that get paid more. Some of my VAs could go all the way up to $30. But if I was to hire somebody in the States for that position, I would probably be, well, not $30. Hold on. Let me rewind that. What's the highest? I don't know the price, but basically the point I'm making is the amount of money that I would actually pay a VA in the Philippines or India who has a MBA degree or a master's degree. If I was to pay those same individuals here, I would be paying times 5 the amount of money. These guys are college educated, workers, right? They're not entrepreneurs, they're college educated workers, and they'll come in and execute on your vision for, pennies on the dollars compared to U.S. Workers and employees.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Spectacular. You've been dropping so much value on the podcast, man. I'm extremely grateful for that. I do have some questions now that I like to ask all of my guests. So you feeling ready for those?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. First of which is, what is something that genuinely has you excited right now?
My program, Spectacular Academy, and everything that we're doing right now and I know the impact that we're making. We have millionaire earners teaching their skill set. And that's not something that you would see in schools. You know, you have professors that haven't even accomplished the things that they're talking about. It's like going to a financial advisor that's not rich. It's like, what are you advising you on? You haven't even done this for yourself. Like, I'm a prime believer in having people who accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in life. And that's what these guys are doing. All my coaches and teachers are people who are already generating 7 figures, 8 figures in their own business right now. These are things that's working right now, not no caveman stuff out of a textbook. These are things, hacks, different things that you can apply in your business that's absolutely crushing it right now. So leadership, growing your social media brand, marketing on your social media brand, money financing. What's the difference between a balance sheet, cash flow, like all these different things that you don't know. What's the difference between an LLC and an S corp, and how you do your taxes and save money the legal way, so you don't have to pay Uncle Sam all his money. I mean, it's so many things, man. Leadership, how to sell through personalities, like how to deal with people, like all these different things that make such a huge impact in business and in your regular life is cool. Like it's amazing. And you can go to helpmegoviral.com and it'll take you to my free training. I'll actually give an hour and 30 minutes worth of my time, free training, and you guys can go and take advantage of that. It's absolutely free. And I talk about my program towards the end of it. So if you guys want to join, sometimes I only have like 100 spots available. Probably once a month I try to take on 100 people, but sometimes you never know. I might pause it for like 6 months to a year and stop taking applications for people who want to join the program. So it all depends, man. I really want to stay, real intimate and making sure everybody who's joining the program can really see the results that they want. My whole idea is to create at least 100 millionaires by the end of 2020. So that's my goal. I'm a strong believer I can make it happen. We already have students that's crushing it in the business and, launching products from scratch. They don't know. A lot of our students are people who hate 9-to-5 jobs. They're not really the 9-to-5 type. They don't want to build somebody else's dream. They want to build their own dream. They want to figure out how to grow their social platform because it's just confused. They don't know how to do it. And a lot of our students are finding a lot of success in the things that we're doing right now for them when it comes to giving them the Q&A coaching every single week. You get access to my team. And we're fast-growing companies, one of the fastest-growing companies in America on the Inc. 5000 list. We rank number 262 with 100% growth. So from that, just implementing everything from that. I actually went to Harvard Business School just to see what they was teaching, to see what I could actually add into my program. So I took some of the things that I learned from Harvard Business School and paid all this money to go there and try to figure out ways that I can add more value to my program. So not only I have the millionaire teachers, I have my team teaching in there, the mentoring that you get weekly, and also you get access to me in the program. I'm always in our Facebook group and just trying to add as much value as possible. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Awesome. I mean, that's stuff to be excited about right there. I'm also curious whether you have any habits that have served you particularly well, either in your business or your lifestyle.
Habits, I would definitely say reading, and I like to go to the gym. But the only reason why I like going to the gym is because I get to read. I'm an audio visual person, so I'm not physically holding a book reading it. But while I'm on the treadmill, I'm at least on the treadmill for 45 minutes to an hour. I get to soak in at least an hour worth of knowledge every single day. And the more you learn, the more you earn. And the more you learn and actually execute on what you're learning, is the more wealth you can build for yourself.
That's the key, is the execution right there. Spectacular, man. I'm super appreciative of your time and you choosing to spend it here. Where can our listeners go if they want to follow up with you and learn more about what you're doing, your program, all that good stuff?
Yeah, they can go to I Am Spectacular. It's on all channels. I Am Spectacular on Facebook. I Am Spectacular on Twitter. I'm Spectacular on Instagram. And you can follow me, man. We also have a phone number. If you guys want to text me, 786-661-1224. All you got to do is text a hashtag course if you want me to send you my free training. Make sure when you do it quickly, because it max out and then you got to wait a whole, whenever the hell it opens back up. So just make sure if you do it, make sure you don't procrastinate on making sure you grab your seats or whatever, because it sells out all the time.
Cool. Awesome. Well, man, again, I'm super grateful for you and you choosing to spend your time here on Young Smart Money. Do you have any last parting thoughts, words of wisdom, or anything you want to leave the listeners with here today?
Yeah, man, I have a podcast. I do this all the time. Just give as much value as possible to my supporters. So my podcast is called The Spectacular Experience. You can actually go and subscribe. Make sure you leave me a review. Make sure you leave a review for this podcast, and make sure you tell other people who needs to hear the value that we are giving in this podcast alone. Share it out, and make sure you tag some people in it, post it on your stories, tag me. I am spectacular. I always repost my tags. And yeah, man, just subscribe to my podcast. And I got a YouTube series coming for my podcast too. So now you're going to be able to watch me on YouTube and learn some things on YouTube also.
Awesome. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Spectacular. Thank you so much for your time.